Coming up, we're going to give you our spoiler-filled review of Timmy Failure, Mistakes Were Made.
The bigger question is, who made the bigger mistakes, Timmy or Disney? Welcome back to Eye to Eye, Disney Through Our Eyes. I'm Kyle.
And I'm Jessica.
And it's time for another movie review. And I think this is our first Disney Plus movie review that we've done, right?
Yeah.
I can't really think
We've watched some Disney Plus movies, but this is the first time we've reviewed one.
We've started some. We haven't finished Togo. We hadn't finished anything because someone over here falls asleep.
Okay, we've finished Noelle.
Yeah, we ran out of time to do that review.
And Togo, I'm not a fan of yet, so...
Well, you're not a fan of Togo because of the
I'm
dog.
scared that somebody's going to die.
Well, of course it is. This is not a Togo and Noelle review. This is Timmy. We have failed. Mistakes have been made.
Mistakes were made.
In this review.
Okay.
It's about Timmy Failure. Mistakes were made. We watched the trailer for this one, and the trailer looked pretty funny and good from my recollection on this one.
I think all the funny parts were in the trailer, though.
That's one of the maybe criticisms here. But before we go too much further, I think you should have to give your 60-second review, as we always have you do in these movies, because it's just entertaining to see through the eyes of Jessica what actually happened. So always remember, spoilers are in this. So please, if you don't want to be spoiled about Timmy Failure, don't watch past this point. So, Jessica, your timer starts as soon as Kyle's thing wants to go. Right.
That's 59 seconds.
59 seconds.
No, I get a whole extra second.
There we go. And go.
So Timmy Failure is this 5th grade kid, and he's scared to go to middle school, but he's got this agency, and he's like a detective, and he's got this polar bear that may or may not be real that's not addressed in the movie at all. And he's like trying to figure out all these little things that are happening, like purse snatchings and backpack snatchings, and his mom's Segway goes missing that he's not supposed to borrow, but he did borrow. And it's like, I don't know, he just gets in trouble a lot, and mistakes were made, and he gets suspended from school because he like goes and jumps off this thing, and like there's a dam and there's water and bad things are happening, and his character is like really weird. He's very odd, and his mom's trying to make him be normal, and he can't be normal because he doesn't want to be normal, and he's like afraid to go to middle school. And then there's the polar bear that like is just there, but his name is Total, and that's like his side partner or something. And I don't know, there's not a lot of plot, but basically he's like an agent, a detective, and he's trying to get his friends to help him, and none of them want to. And this kid named Rolo, which seems super mean to call some kid Rolo, they're like trying to work out like an agency, and then it goes to middle school, and then it's over.
There's your warning at the end there. Okay, that's, there were not a lot of plot details in that. There were a lot of this, then that.
There's not a lot of plot in this, and I don't really know what to say about it.
Well, I think you can kind of tell from the way we've started this review here that we're probably not the biggest fans of this one.
To be fair, we are not the target audience.
Now, I'm interested,
I would say...
Who is the target audience?
Middle school or elementary school boys.
I would say it's not necessarily that's the target audience. I would say it's just the family aspect of it. It's a family movie because...
Okay, fair. But when you put out a family movie, it's generally geared towards children. I think little boys are going to like this movie.
See, when I think of children's like movies, I think of very basic stuff like, I don't know, Barney and Friends and stuff like that.
Okay, no, we're not talking preschool age. We're talking elementary school age, middle school age. This may be too young for middle school, but I just...
Well, it's about transitioning from...
Correct, which is why I think elementary school. So here's a good thing to segue into that I had a problem with.
Okay.
I felt like this kid was super disrespectful. Super disrespectful to his mom, super disrespectful to his school, to his teachers, to his friends. I didn't like that.
Right.
I thought that he was really rude, and I don't know that if we had children that I would want my children to see that and see how much disrespect he gets away with.
So, okay, so again, I think great points there. Let me roll it back a little bit though. So this is based off a book, a novel, I believe it is. I looked it up, and obviously it was written for a certain type of, reader, all that things. I think what Disney again tried to do here is adapt something that was meant for one audience, but tried to adapt it to something more broad. I don't necessarily know that it worked. And so I don't have a lot of context for the character of Timmy Failure. He is very odd. He has to wear a scarf all the time, has an imaginary polar bear friend. He
carries around this little walkie-talkie on his belt.
He's just very eccentric. Without trying to dance a fine line here, I would say, is there a question of is he on some type of autism spectrum, maybe?
They never address it.
They don't address that. But the premise of this whole story is that they're embracing not being normal, which I think is a great story and a great lesson to a degree. And I think that's what you're trying to get at here when you're saying the disrespectfulness. I think it is great that we all try. We're all different. We all have our unique gifts and abilities, some more than others. But I'm just saying.
Just blowing past that.
I'm just saying, like, I think that this one kind of didn't do a good job of portraying being different, but also being a good person. If that it feels bad to say that about a little kid, though. You know.
Well, I think maybe just. You can be different and still fit in to your classroom or with your friends. And I think Timmy was so different. Like, he was polarizing. The people in his class were like, Timmy, you need to study. And, you know, he didn't like this one girl, Karina. And, like, it was just very polarizing that even the librarian didn't like him. And it was just very odd. Very odd.
What I thought it did do a good job doing is this is based out of Portland, Oregon. And from what we understand about Portland, I've only flown through Oregon one time or landed there, so I haven't stopped and seen it. But I understand they're, you know, very unique culture out there and have almost like that hipster vibe. You definitely get that in this one. Yeah. You know, his mom has her hair dyed. They kind of walk around. You see a lot of like hippie type people. So the whole community is about being different from everybody else.
Which again is awesome. We have nothing bad to say about that.
There's being different for the sake of just being unique and embracing who you are, and there's being different just to say, look at me. And that kind of bordered on this kind of thing too. It was less about being unique and more about being an attention grabber. And I want attention and kind of thing. That's the impression that I got out of this. You had a problem with the fact whether the polar bear was addressed as...
Well, so there's this giant polar bear that follows Timmy around.
Total Failure, which is a great name, though, by the way, Total Failure.
Well, his name's Total. Kyle had no idea why his name was Total.
No, I did know.
Total Failure?
I did know it. I just was like, Total, wow, that's just a...
Yeah, you couldn't figure that out, so I had to help you with that one. So, anyway, I thought, based on the way the trailer was, I thought we were going to acknowledge that the polar bear is not real, that it's just a figment of his imagination, but it was never addressed at all. It was kind of like, oh, everybody may or may not see this polar bear.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's obvious tells in there that it's imaginary. Obviously, nobody ever addresses it unless it's in one of his imaginations. You saw the teacher at the end there kind of look up and acknowledge but then we realized that was an imagination of Timmy the whole time. That's
another good point. So I kept getting confused as to what's an imagination and what was Timmy's real life. There wasn't a lot of clear cut on the scenes.
You had to pay attention to what the characters were doing in each scene to realize, oh, this is an imagination before they cut away. So I did actually like that aspect of it. I liked how it's like all of a sudden we're making fun of something that somebody said something very literal, and then Timmy would take it, or they would say an expression, he would take it literally to the extreme end of it. Yeah. That was kind of entertaining.
I mean, it was funny, but it was just kind of weird and quippy.
Yeah, just all over the place.
Yeah, it felt very, very sporadic, very chaotic.
Very lacking in plot. That's the thing.
It really did. So we didn't even see any of the plot come to fruition until maybe the last 10 minutes.
Right.
And it was like everything came together really quickly. At the beginning of the movie, remember there was that whole thing about the kid losing his backpack? And
we didn't even dress the backpack.
So for like 20 minutes of the movie, we're talking about the backpack. And then we never see it addressed again because Timmy doesn't close that case. So there were just a lot of plot holes that
I don't know if this was, again, I'm sure some people in the comments can clarify some things for us. I wonder if this is actually not just one novel or it's a book series and they tried to, again, smash everything together into one.
So honestly, I could see as a kid loving this book series. It's very fun. It would be engaging as a book. As a movie, I just don't think it really does it because it takes the imagination out of it because you're watching it rather than picturing it in your own mind.
Some things are best left as books.
Yeah, and absolutely.
I think we can say the one we won't speak of anymore. What was it called? I can't even remember.
A Wrinkle in Time.
Wrinkle in Time are best left as those type of things.
I'd say The Chronicles of Narnia were also best left as books.
That first one was pretty good. I like that.
It was good, but I still think it's best left. Especially like some of these fantasy, sci-fi, those types of things. sometimes they are best left to the imagination because everybody's going to imagine something different. And then when you see it, you're like, oh, crap, that's not what I thought at all.
There's a lot of things that I think they could have done better in this movie. One of those being the plot situation. But, it's not a terrible movie.
Not at all. So the characters were funny.
Yes.
I liked the actors.
The cutaways were funny.
Yeah, that's fair. You just had to understand what the cutaways are.
Which, for someone who gets easily confused, it's tough stuff here. Timmy was failing her in this whole thing.
Yeah.
And I think they overdid the whole mistakes were made.
Yeah.
I know that was his thing.
So overdone.
I think.
And affirmative.
But that's, it didn't translate well to a movie. Can we talk about the whole Russians thing for a second,
So this was super weird. Go ahead, give me your opinion.
I just, man, in a time where we're trying to be very PC, it felt a little non-PC. And we're not gonna get into that subject real deep here. It felt weird.
It felt wrong. So again, very polarizing. It just felt like, okay, we are. I don't know. It was like we're judging people based on what country they're from.
Yeah.
To be pretty blunt.
Or just a group of people, not even what country, for just a group of people.
Yeah, and for no reason. Like, again, that just really, it was this weird, quippy thing that they threw in the movie and they kept bringing up throughout.
Yeah.
You're like, but this really doesn't have anything to do with the segue going missing.
Like, it was funny the first time, the Russians. And we're like, the fun. But then he just kept going.
Yeah.
I was like.
And then he didn't like a girl in his school because that's where she was from.
I guess.
It was just really odd. And yet again, it was just something else that wasn't really necessary. And it took away from the main plot of his agency trying to find the Segway, find the purse snatcher, and find the backpack, which the Segway fell into his lap. The purse snatcher kind of fell into his lap. We never found the backpack, even though we saw where the backpack was. But Timmy never found it.
He never cracked the case, but the case was cracked by itself because we know where it was the whole time. I did like how when the power shut down in his imagination, it shut down everything from every scene in the movie.
Yeah.
That was like great imagination callback. I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. Like,
but that was
literally
so
everything.
confusing. That was that one scene that I was like, wait, did that happen or not? That was the one that I thought
Jessica
actually happened. And I was like, wait. When are we turning the power back on? And then realized, it was fake.
Real quick, your favorite character from the movie?
What's her name? Molly.
Molly was pretty funny. I like Rollo. She was hysterical.
Oh, yeah. Molly and Rollo.
Can't take Rollo. Rollo's mine.
Okay, Molly and Rollo, they were hysterical. They were like the saving graces.
He was like Timmy's like reality check, He was like, yeah, I'll go along with you for the ride, but come on, man, we gotta be real.
You gotta study. Are you gonna study this time?
Yeah, just come on.
You know who else I liked? I liked the librarian.
She was very funny.
She was funny.
She want to talk about a reality check. She was just like, I ain't dealing with this.
Right.
Like, this kid's.
She was like, Timmy, you have to pick a group.
I'm gonna kill him. I'm just gonna kill him. It was very funny. In that.
So I mean, the movie was not terrible. It was not. So do we want to give our rating?
Yes. So our rating is based off of how likely we would be able to watch this again, or we want to watch this again, for 1 through 5. 1 being not. 5, we're definitely gonna watch it. So where do you fall on that scale?
So I'm gonna give it a 2. Originally, when you first asked me, I was going to give it a 1.
Yeah.
But then I started thinking about things that I really enjoyed about it, like the bank scene where that was just so ridiculous, and Rollo and Molly. And I did like the supporting characters enough that if somebody really twisted my arm and was like, hey, I really want to watch this, will you watch it with me? I'm like, fine. I wouldn't choose it on my own, but I would watch it again if I had to.
Wow, you're going to make me look bad now. I'm going to give it a 1. It wasn't made for me. I was taken out a movie about a lot of the things that were going in it. It's not a bad movie, but it is not on a level of Wrinkle in Time. But nothing will ever be the Wrinkle in Time.
But I will say, I do think part of it is we are not the target audience.
Yes.
So I think, some people are going to love this.
But that's the part of our review here, is this our perspective, obviously, to, younger, adults, that it's not going to appeal probably to people our age at this point. But that's our review, so whether you like it or not, let us know down in the comment section below what you thought about the movie, or even some of our thoughts on it. We'd love to hear from you there. But also, please make sure you vote in our poll as well. What else should they do?
Be sure to please like and subscribe to our channel and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos.
And that's all we have for you in this edition of Eye to Eye. But until we assemble again,
may the force be with you.
And we'll see you real soon.
Bye. That little weird fatty place between your hand and your doesn't
You have fat on that?
Oh, how mistakes were made.
There were plenty of mistakes in this movie. One was I messed that one up. That was not good.
Okay.